is going to be tough to beat for the Syracuse team tonight.
We're underway here from SU Soccer Stadium on a rainy Tuesday night. And Cornell possesses early on, straight into the box and cleared away by the Orange. It was a late foul for SU against Louisville that cost them. And Louisville equalizing in the late minutes of the game to secure a draw. SU still looking for that first ACC win. On the other end, Cornell still unbeaten to this point of the season. Played nicely in the midfield. Cornell trying to impose their physicality, Sam. That was something that John Smith talked about, and head coach Ian McIntyre for SU. Both these teams separately mentioned how physical they expect this game to be. You have to think that the weather maybe adds even another layer to that.
It really does. It absolutely adds a layer. Coming in, we thought this would be a testy battle between two non-conference rivals, and add the conditions, things could get interesting, such as that header right there. You got to be careful on back passes like that, because as you see, that rain is coming down really as hard as it has all night long here at Syracuse.
Oh, nice composure from Cutler to Jesus to play it back to his keeper. But yeah, during pre-game warm-ups, we watched players wiping out on the pitch during shots. And that's something to watch out for all night. And like you mentioned, this is going to be a game of attrition where maybe the team that out-physicals the other team does better. A ball that maybe was out of play for a moment, they thought, but instead it's kept in and played back into that SU box. So the Big Red putting pressure on SU early on here. And the ball played way out off that far line. Take a look at John Smith in his 9th season as head coach for the Big Red. And drenched in the rain right now. You look at that all-time record, a successful program. Sam, we just spoke with him this afternoon as Cornell was headed up on the bus, and he talked about the fact that he's turned Cornell into what he would say is a decent program, but he's always looking to coaches like Ian McIntyre, who have been around for more than a decade, for advice. Cleared away nicely by Tomas Hutt, and now taken up the pitch by SU. Played into zero space there, and out of play.
Yeah, it is the 9th season in charge of this Cornell program for John Smith, and he's done a really solid job, obviously, bringing this team to the NCAA tournament a few seasons ago before ultimately losing to Syracuse right here on this pitch in the round of 16. Now, the one thing he hasn't done since taking over is winning an Ivy League title, so that's something the Big Red really want to accomplish this season.
Well, Cornell will begin their Ivy League campaign against Yale on Saturday, that in New Haven, and of course, the quest kind of begins again, and right now you'd have to say that they're off to a better than decent start. Unbeaten, 4-2 in 6 matches so far this season.
And similar to Syracuse, Cornell also scheduling some really tough non-conference teams like we're seeing tonight, but Cornell also got, good results against Georgetown and Penn State, drawing both of them. So those are results that you can really build off of before heading into conference play, Luke.
Well, fans that remember Syracuse's triumph over the Big Red back in 2022 during the playoffs for the NCAA, where, of course, SU would go on to win the national championship, will remember that this was one of the more exciting matches during that entire run for the Orange. And since then, the Big Red have had their number.
Right. And it was earlier in that regular season that Cornell handed Syracuse just one of its 2 losses all the way through en route to that championship.
Oh, that's a testy push there right in front of the box, and we'll have to see. Looks like it'll be just a warning for Ben Rosenblatt. Rosenblatt started just 2 games coming into today. He gets the start this evening.
And this was a similar situation late on in the game against Louisville, where it was a foul from right outside the box. This may be a little further out, that ultimately cost Syracuse in that match. So you really got to be careful with your decision making as part of that back line for Syracuse. Right there, the attacker with his back to goal, not necessarily a position where you want to concede a free kick.
3 men stood over the ball. Weston Carnival, the one behind it, who's looking to take the kick. There's another Andrew Johnson off to the right-hand side. And it will be Carnival. Just sends it wide and played nicely by Hutt. Of course, the wetness of his gloves a factor. And away with it now on a counter-attacking opportunity. SU has a chance to put some early pressure on. Dribbled away nicely by Daniel Burko. We mentioned him in the open. Been instrumental since he's got his chance. And when we talked to Ian McIntyre, he talked about how awesome it is to have a guy really hitting his stride mid-season, and you want to reward players, he said, when they're in form, and right now, Burko could not be more in form.
Yeah, Coach McIntyre, speaking to him earlier this week as well, just really praised the terrific work ethic and awesome attitude that Daniel Burko possesses. So when now you have a player in Burko who, in addition to those characteristics, is in form, that man right there, Ian McIntyre, is going to reward you with your second start of the season.
Well, he's been around a long time, 15th season, as you see on the bottom of your screen. So he knows what to do, managing players' successes, their failures, and right now it's been full of success for Burko after his transfer from Lincoln Memorial University. And when asked, what exactly does he do at the D2 level that you thought would translate so well to the D1 level? He was like, well, he scores goals.
Yeah.
And if you score goals at any level, 20 of them last season for Burko, it's not surprising when that does translate over. Contact in the midfield, and that's, he'll be lucky if he doesn't get a card there, I would say. Sam Layton, who started every game this season for the Orange.
It is the first foul on Layton, so the official just giving him a warning, but certainly one more from Layton, and he'll be booked. Sam Layton, the only player on the Syracuse team who has played every minute of every match so far, really anchoring that back line.
Mina Pinton, the head referee for today's action. Out on the far side. A ball played deep, looking for a cross. So Cornell's idea early, trying to penetrate the box. That one just a bit too long, though. And really, the work rate has to go up a little bit more in games like this. You start to get water in your jersey, water in your shorts, and you start to feel heavy in games like this. Things feel a little bit slower. You have to really make great decisions because it can be harder to rebound from a bad turnover or maybe a ball that goes awry and a play that doesn't quite go to plan.
Right, a midweek game, rainy conditions, a non-conference battle. It's going to be about who wants it more, Luke, because this is not one of those games where it's going to be easy just going through the motions. It's going to be a grind. It won't be pretty at all times, so it'll be intriguing to see how things develop going forward.
Martin working with some space. May finds Carnival. Carnival, the wing back on that near side, who took the free kick earlier on. He's got no goals this year.
And this is how Cornell likes to play as well. They've been dominating possession-wise so far. They like being in control, making Syracuse run after it and ultimately intervene on chances like that.
And that's really one of the features that makes this non-conference game more like an ACC matchup.
Yes.
All-time history between these two squads. Cornell has the advantage, Sam. 37, 31, and 8 all-time. And like we mentioned, the 77th all-time meeting, you have to go all the way back to 1921, more than 100 years ago, that these teams played for the first time. So a storied battle, and of course, when we spoke to John Smith today, he said how cool it is to have two really nationally prestigious programs in Central New York.
Yeah, it definitely helps that, you know, they're just an hour down the road from each other. It's really a no-brainer for both of these coaches to schedule this non-conference matchup, and that's what they both said. It's just a great test for both of them to get ready for their respective conference play.
It's Burko who was fouled on the far side. That's going to give Syracuse a chance to set up and slow things down in their own end for maybe the first time today. It's been a lot of pressure from Cornell, and Coach McIntyre was aware of that. He said we're really going to have to do everything we can to take advantage of the time that we have the ball because Cornell's a possession-based team.
And you're already seeing with these rainy conditions, Luke, the fact that this is on grass as well, the ball is dying down in a hurry. So, you know, you just need that extra power on your touch as well in terms of connecting these passes through the middle. And that's something Syracuse hasn't found too much success in doing through the opening 9 minutes.
It's going to cause some disjointed play as well. So, you know, a lot of turnovers through the opening minutes here. Both teams just kind of looking for that rhythm. And on top of the physicality we already mentioned, that just continues to bring the theme of a rivalry clash played into the box. Friedberg right there.
Yeah, we Take a look at the replay here. The first time, really, Friedberg's been called into action. A harmless ball, but with that being said, Luke, in these conditions, you never know. So a big goal for the Orange, and really both teams will be testing the opposing goalkeepers because, you know, just one miscue in these slippery conditions and a harmless shot could result in the goal.
No, Syracuse is testing our official Pinton a little bit right now. Maybe his patience. That's already the third time that a Cornell player has gone down. Plays had to be restarted, so. Do you think you give any extra leeway when these teams are so familiar with each other? You know it's going to have that rivalry aspect.
Maybe a little bit, Luke, but at the same time, I don't think it changes entirely the way you're going to officiate a game. With that being said, when you have this many fouls, another one happening right there, this early into the contest, the main thing as an official is keeping things under control. So if that means an early booking, so be it. You see the foul count already, and we're only 10 minutes into the match.
I was just going to say, I think you must see someone booked here soon if it continues the way it's gone.
Right. It gets to a point as well where it doesn't matter what player is committing the foul. Once the team accumulates as many fouls as Syracuse has, the referee has every right to say, all right, next one, no matter who it is, it's going to result in the booking to just settle things down.
Nicely played up the far side, and it was a ball for Kaw. Aliun Kaw. And there you see Kisa Kingi, defender who's played all the minutes this season from Bethesda, Maryland. And tough tumble there on the far side. And, you know, we heard someone yell out in the crowd. I don't know if you heard it, Sam.
I did.
It's raining out there. It's slippery. I think they're putting that on full display right now.
I'm glad they let us know it's rainy and slippery. I think I figured that out by now, about a dozen minutes in.
I think that message was meant for the officials.
Right, yeah, and that was, you know, just goes back to the physical play as well in these rainy conditions. Most of these players, especially the Cornell players wearing white jerseys, are going to get those kits pretty dirty by the end of the night.
Need a thorough wash. Cross played in front, and it's trickled wide. Hutt was going the other way. A nice backtracking play by Chimre Omese.
Really the first dangerous opportunity of this match, and it was actually Aliun Kaw and Liam May almost colliding. The two Cornell teammates weren't exactly in communication there of who was going to get on the end of that cross. Omese also breaking it up a bit. Could have been a big red goal right there had Kaw and his teammate May been on the same page.
Kaw 3 goals on the season so far. And that man, Tomas Hutt, has been a feature performer for the Orange, has really stepped into that keeper role that was a bit unsteady last season. Ball played through, but settled down nicely by Melly. But the split between Jaheim Wickham and Jason Smith last year, there was never really a moment where SU felt incredibly comfortable in goal, and you bring in Tomas Hutt, and he's done a good job coming from Army where he was back in 2022, and now taking over that starting role this season. Really settling things down, and he's been reliable in net. Of course, he's got that captain's armband on as well.
Right, a lot of responsibility, but Hutt, a player who's been willing to take it on. Really, you know, his patience was tested a bit being on the bench all of last season and not playing, but now that this opportunity has come, he's taken full advantage.
Well, you talk about in today's soccer as well, it's so easy to earn that #1 spot, or quite frankly, I should say, it's so easy to lose that #1 spot, and that's why it's easier to gain a #1 spot. You go on a hot run of play, you could find yourself starting in net for 3 or 4 months. And that's really what Hutt has done. He's grabbed that position by the horns. That's looked to have gone off his arm, but they're going to say that it hit a Cornell player first. It was Carnival in the area. Rosenblatt really plays a crucial role in the midfield today. I think that his ability to move that ball out of that back line, especially with the rain, those precision passes are going to need to be on point if SU is going to have offensive success. Advantage played for Cornell. The Orange really leaning into that physicality. We can tell that Ian McIntyre didn't mince words with his squad. Inside, it's settled down by Omese. Back out, kicked inside, and headed away nicely by Sam Layton. Ball still in the box. Now it's cleared out. into the midfield. They send it right back in, and it goes wide of Hutt.
A real good job there, Luke, from the Syracuse back line to just stay in position there, make sure they're behind the ball, not really allowing Cornell to get a clean shot off. And obviously, McIntyre likes to present that 3-5-2 formation, but you, of course, have those outside mids who are tracking back, helping out. You need that work ethic to succeed in that formation, and that's what we saw from the Orange right there.
To be a wingback in Ian McIntyre's system is no easy task. And how about a little bit of slippage from Hutt there as he let that one go? Fell on the turf. The rain continuing to pour, and there wasn't really much rain in the forecast before we came on the air tonight, but things have quickly turned around.
Mother Nature likes to fool us, especially here in upstate New York. And, you know, we got spoiled with a lot of great weather in this month of September, Luke. And I think it's only fitting that with a rivalry matchup like this, we get these type of conditions.
Well, Mace plays a nice ball forward, but it's turned over and picked off by Connor Miller. Miller has been an interesting story as well. Just a sophomore, but he's really taken a big leadership role in his second season with the Big Red. Already has a goal, 2 assists so far this season, and he started 5 of 5 matches that he's played in.
Also first team All-Ivy honors as a freshman last year. So really a regular for this team, and spent time with Colorado Rapids too before coming to Cornell. That's the type of guy who, he might be an underclassman, Luke, but he has plenty of big-time experience under his belt, and that's shown.
Miscommunication there on the near touchline. The ball goes back to Syracuse, and really see a game like this being decided by maybe a result of 1-0. If it doesn't scream that, I'm not sure what does.
It definitely has that feeling. Honestly, you know, these are similar conditions when these teams met in the round of 16 in the 2022 NCAA tournament, where it was Kalugian in the final minutes who slotted one home on, you know, a chance at the other end, really against the run of play, and that was the difference right there. It really does have a similar feel to how that one played out, just because of the conditions.
It's Aiden Martin to throw it back in, get play restarted. And you see so many of those Syracuse defenders tracking back toward the box. Don't want to have to make big runs in weather like this. The ball slips off the foot of Martin, and it's played wide. Ka making his way through defenders, now into the box. Toward the near post, fires one out, and can't be kept in play. He was looking for Alex Harris, and shockingly, Sam, it's taken us almost 20 minutes to mention Alex Harris's name.
Right, it's been a while until he's gotten involved, but this was the first time where, you know, it was very close to finding him, but a good job by Syracuse to just scrape it out, because Omese and Aqua were both beat by, you know, the attacker in Aliun Ka to create that chance. And so Syracuse in the end bailed out a little bit, because if that found Harris, he's probably putting that away from point-blank range.
We got the first touch in the game for Harris. 18 minutes into this one, give or take, and Harris, of course, the primary striker for this Cornell group. When you talk about Aliun Ka, he plays more of that false 9 role if he's going to get up in the attack more. He tries to be a distributor as well. When you look at Harris, those 5 goals on the season tell you everything you need to know. He's a pure goal scorer.
He is. If you feed Harris the ball, he also has so much pace where he can beat you one-on-one. So obviously, if you're Cornell, you want to put your primary goal scorer in great positions, but he also has the technical ability to shoot on his right foot, shoot on his left, beat a defender. He's really he has the full package and has what it takes to succeed at the highest of levels. I
think we must give him credit as well, though. 2 assists on the season. So it's not like he's really playing as a target man, just put the ball on my right foot and I'm going to score for you. You know, he's got that ability to play make as well, but generally you'll see him at the top of the formation for Cornell. Wingback Aiden Martin's been involved a lot so far. Liam May works away from pressure out to his back line. Another ball played into the box. Much more possession in the box early for Cornell. It's a nice ball played forward by Fortier. Over that far side, and Burko just can't hang on to it. Daniel Burko, such an interesting story. I know we touched on him a little earlier, but his ability to finish has been what struck me the most over these 2 games.
Yeah, you know, you go to that Canisius game where he scored his first goal with Syracuse. I mean, just a brilliant turn and perfect placement in the bottom right corner. And he showed against Louisville that he can score in other ways too. Really right place, right time on a little bit more of a scrappy goal. But the composure is what stands out for Burko in these last couple of games where he's come onto the scene and is in form, to say the least, Luke.
Omese. Leighton. Cutler to Jesus. Errant pass, turned over. Big red on attack, but Harris is outnumbered, and they'll let it dribble all the way back to Hutt.
Just a bit of a nonchalant pass there from Cutler to Jesus, and you got to be careful because this is a dynamic Cornell midfield that likes to attack quickly, and the Big Red in the end kind of wasting a potential opportunity there with that long ball forward.
Wasn't the place to attack for Kalukian there. One of the first times we've called his name tonight. He's got it again. Finds Burko. Burko plays it wide, in-swinging ball, and knocked away by Friedberg. Ryan Friedberg gets involved. 14 saves for him so far this season.
See right here, you know, a pretty dangerous cross, and that's always a tough one as the keeper, you know, whether it's going on target or going wide. Friedberg alert gets a hand to it to shove it clear.
Chance that may have gone in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why
that ball run.
You always want to play it safe.
Omese tries to get into the attack. He thinks it's a foul, but Pinson says play on. And now we're going to talk to head coach Ian McIntyre. Coach, thanks so much for taking some time for us here in this first half. It's been a physical run of play, which you mentioned you were expecting. How do you evaluate your team's performance in these tough conditions through the first 20 minutes?
Cornell started the better. They were in the front foot, and we're just starting to grow into the game now and kind of moving the ball around. But yeah, look, it's tough conditions, and I've been very pleased with our response after a tough first few minutes.
And Coach Daniel Burko, of course, getting the start tonight. What have you seen from him in his few touches so far?
I think our pushing him and getting our guys a little bit higher up the field we've caused them some problems. And but look, both teams, they've got a very exciting attacking group as well. So you know, tough conditions, and hopefully you guys are dry up there.
Yeah, we are. We hope that you can stay as dry as possible too, Coach. Thanks
so
much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank head coach Ian McIntyre for joining us, and I think right there it was just Ben Rosenblatt slipping to the floor. He can't quite make a play on that ball, but the referee says play on, and the rain not stopping it in its intensity. It's really only gotten worse, I think, since we've kicked off, Sam. Now ahead with some space. Cornell plays Harris in front. Harris tries to go to the far post, and he can't find it. Well, there you go. Alex Harris gets that first chance in on goal, and more than often he's made it count.
Syracuse really let off the hook here, Luke, because Harris is really wide open towards that back post, and by the time Omese tried to get back into the position, Harris was in with the chance, and that's very uncharacteristic of the sophomore to miss a chance like that. Really 9 times out of 10, he's slotting that to the back post, and you could see by the reaction of goalkeeper Tomas Hutt, he was hopeless. Kind of just looked towards that back post, praying the ball went wide, and fortunately for Syracuse, it did. That should be a wake-up call for the Orange.
You say it was uncharacteristic for Harris. I think it was a bit uncharacteristic for Omese, who's really been tremendous as a freshman this season on that back line. Right there, just lost his man, and go back to that work rate, which John Smith just preached about. And he said that Harris really never takes a second off, and that's why he can slither behind that defensive back line, make plays like he just did.
You simply always have to be alert for the entirety of Syracuse's back line with a guy like Harris, who never for a split second, you know, takes his foot off the gas, really. And to your point, that's something head coach of Cornell, John Smith, stressed, where he's saying, unlike most strikers that sometimes are out of the game for a little bit, Harris is always trying to stay involved, as we see players slipping left and right.
Well, that time he hits the floor. Harris, the unanimous Ivy League Rookie of the Year last season. The flag is up, offside. It was Kalukian who was chasing after it, and probably offside by more than a margin. In this weather, you're going to have guys falling behind, and you really have to time your runs perfectly. It kind of adds another layer of depth to timing those runs.
And the aspect of this game that I'm excited about is to see how both teams approach it as we get deeper into the contest, because really with these conditions, we could be in for a game in which things really start to open up, where because of those slippery conditions, both teams try to play those through balls forward and time those runs, because in wet conditions like this, if you're through on goal, that could easily lead to a golden chance. If, you know, a defender slips one little miscue, that could be the breakthrough.
Well, you just don't quite have the time to play through the midfield with the way that the ball's stopping. Kalukian tries to play a man there in the center of the field. The first substitution of the game. SU brings on Braden Smith. Well, they will bring him on. He's getting ready to go. It's also Kelvin DaCosta who's set up for this first substitution period. Those substitution periods certainly of note, and another player hits the deck. Andrew Johnson that time. It was Gabe Threadgold who came in with the knock. But Cornell, Sam, had to play a player in goal in the late minutes of their last contest against UMBC, in which they took a 1-0 victory, and now you will see DaCosta coming on alongside Smith.
Yeah, and DaCosta and, you know, Smith, no surprise to see them both enter the match. They've been regulars coming off the bench and have appeared in every match so far. And you get some young energy in there as well. Some freshmen who've been making an impact so far this season, who Coach McIntyre has been very high on. And I expect to see more rotation as we get deeper into this match as well, because the depth is a very big strong suit of the Syracuse team.
No points between them, but 4 combined shots on target. So guys who have been putting the ball on goal when they get a chance. And of course, Smith, the forward, DaCosta, that midfielder, can play that cam role where he kind of moves up. Attacks maybe as a number 8.
Christian, look here! Christian, behind you!
And this is one of the few times over the last 10-minute stretch or so, Luke, where things are just slowing down a little bit. You know, some more stoppages with that substitution moments ago, and now a throw-in. So it's the Big Red with an opportunity to try to build through the middle here, although kind of stuck on that far sideline, and goes back to the trend of both teams turning the ball over quite consistently throughout this opening half of play.
Well, you have to be so detailed with your passes in slowing things down, because you need to pick your spot perfectly with the conditions that I think it's a lot easier to telegraph a pass in conditions like this, right?
Yep.
Those defenders are watching the eyes of these players on both sides of the ball, and that's why we've seen so much disjointed play here through the first 30 minutes or so.
Right, with a waterlogged pitch. Not that it's waterlogged yet, but you know, the rain certainly affecting things. It's close. The ball's going to travel much slower. So you're right. When, you know, those defenders read a pass, they're likely going to get there first if you don't react in time and you're on the receiving end of that pass.
One of the SU midfielders caught flat-footed right there, and now away with it is Connor Miller. Miller drops it back into that midfield. Melly. Martin. A nice run of play there to make his way through 2 SU defenders. Ball's popped up in the air, and taken down to the floor was Smith. Referee does not blow his whistle. We play on. Playing Friedberg. Interested to see Friedberg's play when he's coming out of his own net, trying to pass and create out of the back line here. You think you'll probably see fewer balls in the air. Makes it a little bit unpredictable with the water on the ball and the spin.
And for both keepers, no matter how confident you are with your feet and technically speaking with the ball on the ground, you just have to have extra caution in what you're doing whenever there's a back pass or you're playing the ball with your feet. Because again, one little slip and you're the last line of defense right there, and both of these oppositions have attackers that will be ready to pounce on chances like that. So you just got to be extra careful.
Saw the ball go offline there, and now it'll be a throw-in for DaCosta, the freshman from Mozambique. Played in New York City with NYCFC Academy. A lot of really talented freshmen and just underclassmen in general on both sides of the ball. And now 2 subs coming on for the Big Red. It's Sam Latona. He comes out alongside maybe Ben Golding, it looks like. It'll be Danny Loco. Aliun Ka comes off the pitch. A break for him. A ball played into the SU box immediately loose and cleared away. Miller in the midfield. Plays one too far. All the way back to Hutt.
And there's been multiple instances now, Luke, where we've seen that from Cornell's midfield, where they try to just play a ball through over the top, but it hasn't led into any success whatsoever. Tomas Hutt has been alert. He's been expecting that. So at some point, if you're the Big Red, you're going to try to have to connect some passes through the midfield to really develop play, to be more dangerous in that final third, because it's been kind of hopeless balls forward through the first half hour or so.
Well, Sam, you can let me know what you think, but it seems to me as though SU's playing maybe a bit deeper than we normally see them. And of course, the scoring threat with Harris is ever prevalent despite the conditions, but you'd have to think with the way that passes have been going so far through this game, that's going to just kind of enforce that decision for Ian McIntyre.
Yeah, they have been staying back pretty deep, to your point, and expecting that. And that's not going to change as long as Cornell keeps on doing that. Syracuse is going to say, that's completely fine, but we'll have whatever attacker is going marked as there's a hefty challenge.
I think Layton's going to see a card here. No contact with the ball for Layton, and of course he's trying to plead his case. Mina Pinton racing over now to the grad student. She's just giving him a warning. Restarts play for Cornell, so I think he's lucky to get away with that, Sam. I really do.
Yeah, it all happened very quickly, but now 2 fouls on Layton. I can almost guarantee you the next one.
Oh, he's certainly booked.
Will be a booking, no doubt about it. That's why when I saw Layton kind of complaining afterwards, I was thinking I would just walk away from that situation if the card's not coming out and be happy with that result.
I think he's got a lot to be thankful for right there. May tries to play it wide, but he's had it taken away by Threadgold. Threadgold can play to Costa wide. To Costa. Nice ball to Kalukian. Tries to get it out wide again. SU trying to force that width from Cornell. Ball inside, cleared away.
I do like the idea there from Syracuse. Some quick passing, some one-touch, two-touch, put it in the middle, spread it out wide. That's more promising from the Syracuse team in terms of connecting those passes through the middle and making Cornell work for it.
Well, that's another questionable challenge. That time, Danny Loco, who just came onto the pitch. He just caught him on the arm, it looks.
Yeah, it was just a little bit reckless from Loco. I mean, he was almost, behind the Syracuse player in Andre Cutler de Jesus. I'm not really sure if Loco ever had the intention of playing the ball because he caught him from behind. The ball was in front of Cutler de Jesus. Syracuse pleading its case that perhaps that should have been a booking. It's been a lot of fouls accumulating, but no yellows yet on either side, Luke.
Well, Loco hasn't been booked so far this season. He's played in all 6 matches Cornell's played. And Sam, we talked earlier about if there would be a little bit more leniency when it came to this, and it seems as though Cornell trying to stop play to use their second substitution window. Coming on is Dominic Coble. Coble's come on in 5 matches this season, the freshman from near Sacramento, California, and it's Liam May who comes off. May was involved in one of those challenges a moment ago. Of course, it seems like almost half the 11 on the pitch have been involved in a nasty challenge at this point.
Yeah, it seemed like that so far. And right on cue, Luke, another player down on the pitch for Syracuse. And we kind of expected this with the rain as well and the physical nature of these two teams when they meet, but it really has kind of broken up the rhythm of play. And that's a big reason why we're still scoreless.
haven't really seen a quality chance from either side. Cornell's possessed a lot more in the box, but it's been tough to really get anything on goal.
It's just that Alex Harris chance that really stands out to me, Luke, where he had a golden opportunity to put that away. But outside of that, on both sides, nothing has really stood out in terms of either team testing the opposition.
Well, Cornell averages almost 2.5 goals per game so far this season. That's really great mark, 20th in the nation at the moment. Really haven't showcased that threat much so far outside of that one Harris chance. Now on the near side, it's Carnival. He tries to play it back, and it's Kalukian pleading that it went off of his hand. I don't think he's got that one, and now he's headed off. Another substitute coming on, and it's Ezra Widman onto the pitch for the first time. Nathan Scott on as well. And Burko off. So the two strikers replaced. And also bring on Carlos Zambrano. That's 2 substitution windows used apiece. Finding some space. He's going to have a strike, and it's popped up. Punched away nicely by Hutt.
You know, I don't mind that effort from Danny Loco. In a game where chances have been few and far between for both of these sides, why not take a crack at goal from distance? You know, Loco saw a shooting lane and, you know, a job well done to get in front of it. And then Tomas Hutt alert off his line, too, to punch it out of danger.
It's been incredibly tricky to stop your momentum. Cutler de Jesus did a great job of it right there. Now ball played forward for Zambrano. His first touch goes all the way down to the other keeper, Friedberg. More than 35 minutes elapsed now in this first half. Both teams searching for that offense. See a dial back press as well. Not much of a press at all for SU at the moment. The ball just dies on the far side before it's cleared away. Miller looking for a man, and he's dragged down in front. That was Mateo Rodriguez, senior from Mexico, and it was Sam Layton, the guilty party against him. He walks away from that somehow unbooked, but it is going to be another chance on goal here for Cornell.
And that was one of the more blatant fouls against Layton, too. He grabbed the shirt, I should say. Really an easy decision for the official, as we see a dangerous opportunity for the Big Red, and Layton's got to be careful. We've said that time and time again. He's gotten away with several fouls now, and from this set piece opportunity, expect an in-swinger towards the back post. The Big Red have multiple runners heading towards that back post. Got to mark your man.
I think Ian McIntyre would say that Layton is a lucky lad right now. It's Miller to stand over it. Now he hesitates. That ball's played in and just wide of the goal. No one gets on the end of it. It's a great chance. Ball played right outside that back post.
Yeah, that's not quite the service I was really expecting. I thought it would be put in the air towards the back post, but instead Aiden Martin says, I'm going to try to trick you a little bit, play one on the ground, and maybe slip it by inside that bottom left corner. But Hutt tracked it all the way through, and in the end, it was just a little bit of a scare for Syracuse, but nothing more than that.
Martin, the fleet-footed freshman defender from Los Angeles, played on LAFC's second team. And they say it's a Cornell ball. Ready to put it back in was DaCosta. Hot pursuit from Widman. Johnson plays Kingy on the far side. Along with it, Luco, and it's cleared away. Maybe the longest ball we've seen hit so far tonight. Omese. Out wide to DaCosta. Back inside, Chifamba. Layton. Omese. Forward for Widman. Nobody there. DaCosta's got to occupy that open space right there.
He does, and that was clear miscommunication where Widman as, you know, to be fair to him, as you would expect, was thinking a runner was going to be there down the sideline, and that's what you would anticipate. But in the same sense, Widman probably needs to pick his head up there and make sure he's on the same page with DaCosta, because that's just a miscue that can't happen through the midfield.
Switch goes short, but it's picked up regardless by Martin. Martin shadowed by his man, ball played forward, and it is out of play on the far goal line. Shielded nicely by Omese. 6 minutes and change to go, first half, and spells of possession have been tough to come by, Sam.
They really have, and it's no surprise that the score is what it is based on just the nature of how this match has been, where, you know, Cornell had a majority of the possession early on in the first 5 minutes, then Syracuse started to settle in a bit, but in the same breath, both teams really haven't had any moments where you say, all right, that's really good link-up play through the middle to create a chance in the final third, because the chances have been lacking at both ends. Both Tomas Hutt in goal for Syracuse and Ryan Friedberg for Cornell haven't had to do much at all.
Away now, Loco, he's got a chance, breaking toward the middle, and a ball off the foot of one of the SU defenders, doesn't get all the way there. Loco's been bright on the ball since he's come on.
He has, and it goes back to the theme of Cornell having a lot of players going forward with plenty of pace. Loco just beating the defender, fresh legs to come into the match as a substitute, and he's been ready for his moment. Has been very dangerous in and around the penalty area and wins his team a corner kick.
Martin to take it after Omese sells away the corner. In front, ball bounces all the way through, no contact on it, and it's going to be Omese again that races towards it, shields it again, and that's going to be a goal kick for Hutt.
I believe it was Latona who got a touch on it for Cornell, trying to almost flick it with his back, turn to goal, but not a strong enough touch to redirect it on frame or for a teammate. But it has been Cornell, Luke, you know, when they're in the final third with the better of the looks, and especially from set pieces, whether that be a corner kick right there, a couple of free kicks where they've really made Syracuse have to be alert on the defensive side of things.
Too much pace from Loco. Ian McIntyre approved of that one.
I don't know if I do, to be honest, though. There's enough room there for Leighton to just take an extra touch and find a teammate out wide rather than just surrendering possession and giving Cornell a throw.
Well tackled by Zambrano. Plays a ball forward, a chance now for Widman to get onto it. Good speed, tracking back from Melly. Both these teams reset so well with their back line that I think it makes it tough to score a goal from a build-up of possession. I do believe you're going to need one of those moments where there's just a little bit of a switch off for one of these teams to take advantage, get on top. And I think once that happens, if it happens, you kind of just go and park the bus from there. Try and stop either side from scoring.
And that's exactly what I think will be the case when, I guess, and slash if that breakthrough goal arrives.
It may be an if tonight.
It may be an if tonight, but if it does arrive, I think whatever team gets that opening goal is going to completely park the bus and try to win the 3 points that way with a 1-0 type of result. Remember, these are two squads who both average allowing just 1 goal per game. These are two of the best defenses you'll find in this area of the country and really in the entire nation.
All tucked in a pocket in Central New York.
Yes.
A hard battle on the far side, and it was Chafamba tumbling to the ground. He picked up a bit of a knock, and looks like some friendly banter between him and Samways.
Clean challenge, nonetheless, from Samways.
More than 40 minutes gone in this first half, approaching the end of it. I certainly think that both sides going to be grateful to get a chance to dry off a bit. Leighton intercepts with the left foot, sends it out. They say it went in SU territory, and so Cornell's throw going to move down the pitch a bit.
That goes back to your point about these defenders reading the passes in these wet conditions. Layton was just all over that one.
Struggle now for Cutler to Jesus to get on top of his man. Smith. And again, it's cleared away. Ticking towards a minute. Friedberg doesn't seem to be chomping at the bit to get that one back in. Ball played nicely through. Good attempted tackle from Layton, but he backs off. Down the near side and some contact. It was Carnival that went to the floor.
And that ball just dying down. On a normal sunny day, that trickles over the end line right there.
And you look at how wide these two parts of the field are right now. If you look at the midfield and forwards for SU compared to that back line, they are stretched thin. And you've seen Sam Layton just try and play two balls over top. Clearly the energy not really there right now after this physical first half. Loco's got a chance in on goal now. He finds a man and they miss narrowly. Aiden Martin couldn't connect in the final minute of the first half, and it was eerily similar, Sam, to that early chance.
It was almost a carbon copy, really, and once again, Syracuse getting beat down this left side. This time Martin in with the left-footed chance, and Syracuse yet again knows it's lucky to get away with that one. That'll be a big talking point at the half, I'm sure, for Coach McIntyre, paying attention to that left flank.
Been impressed by Danny Loco's play in this first half, but scoreless after 45 minutes from a rainy, wet SU soccer stadium.
The weather tonight in this game, just putting some crosses in dangerous areas, testing Friedberg as much as you can, and again, it could lead to some unique opportunities, and you see there the rain now light, but it's been moderate at times, temperature around 60 degrees. This is a proper game weather-wise for an upstate central New York battle at this time of year, Luke.
60 degrees, but it feels colder than that. Braden Smith gets us started in the second half, and SU possesses first, a ball out of play, and immediately they're going to need that towel to with a ton of fouls. You saw the graphic alongside our halftime show. Neither side received a yellow card yet, but a whistle early on.
Latona just tugging the shirt of DaCosta right there. Really a no-brainer to call that foul. He's done a good job of staying on top of things, letting things play out, but
in this second half, and a ball played out to Nathan Scott, who did not start this game. The first match he hasn't started all season. One drifts wide, cleared away by Carnival. Ball played forward, and you saw a little bit of a tumble. Really, the officiating crew kind of caught on to the fact that there was a lot of intent because of that.
As they should, and that goes back to what I just said as well about Kevin Morrison, the official, doing a good job of keeping things under control. You know, he's making the calls that need to be called, but then again, when players go down a little too easily, he's letting the play go on, as he should.
Chance now for Burko, but he's giving it away. Ball played out, and build-up play. Ball crossed in and sent out.
Issa Kingy, who was down for a moment, he's regained his footing now, but the Cornell sideline, clearly in a bit of discomfort, Luke.
You see him there speaking with the head official. education, played soccer at Colgate in his undergrad. It'll be Scott now, UC Riverside transfer, to take the corner. Can't go over to the back post. Oh, Macy, almost. Not enough. Well, Chimreo Macy got burned a few times down that near corner in the first half. This time he
defender going all the way forward on the free kick, and Cornell does a really poor job of keeping track of him. You got to mark your man there at the back post. Omese, you know, with relatively good accuracy on the header, you got to give a corner again. I think Omese, you know, wouldn't do things over again differently. That was the header you're looking for.
Put it right where he meant.
Exactly right.
But now another stoppage, and it's another Cornell player down on the pitch. It's the same man, Kingy, right on the edge of the Cornell box. And if he's picked up a bit of a knock 2 times here, I think that this may be time to get a substitute on, and it is Aluan Ka getting ready on the Cornell sideline. One of those 2 strikers that have proved so pivotal. And it looks like Kisa Kingy, I should say, is coming off the pitch. So this may be signifying a formation change a little bit, Sam, because of course, Ka, a striker, well, Kingy's been playing off that back line. So you wonder now if they draw one of those wing backs in, kind of tighten up the formation and get some more firepower up front. I
was just going to mention that, Luke, because, you know, it is was aggravated, and you see him running back on defense, and it was non-contact, and those are unfortunate. Perhaps, you know, pulling a muscle running back on defense, you hate to see that. We hope he's all right. Credit to him for trying to play through it, but it eventually got to the point where he said, yeah, I can't carry on here, and going back as his first substitute relatively early on in the second half, regardless of that injury. But maybe that was the strategy there, and there will be some more attacking intention from this Cornell team with an attacker replacing a defender.
I think you'd maybe want to save him for a late half push if this game's still locked at. Looked like he may have picked up a knock on. Nothing certain. We'll see if he has a chance to return to this match. Macy wins the battle that time. Well, Macy and Harris, that's got to be a fun matchup to watch. 2 guys with tremendous speed. Another chance inside now, slipping down with it, but clearing it away. That SU back line, well done from them. Carnival. Ball played back out, and now the referee's whistle blows. It's going the way of the orange.
And Andre Cutler de Jesus putting in a shift. He had a nice challenge down on the ground moments ago, and then takes the brunt of contact there from Daniel Samways. That's exactly what you want to see if you're Coach McIntyre. Your defenders putting their body on the line and doing whatever it takes to preserve this clean sheet. Just a heads up, it still says first half.
Stop and start in this play right now. Really struggling to get anything going on either side. 5.5 minutes elapsed in this second half. And another whistle. 3 in about the span of 5 seconds of actual gameplay or so, and this time it was Samways who went down.
Come on, very strong. Stop.
And it's almost impossible to get into any sort of rhythm with the stop and start nature of the second half in this game so far, really. But it's on free kicks like this that Cornell can really capitalize on. They scored from a corner against UMBC in its last game. They just serve it into a dangerous area. Anything can happen in these moments.
It's a well-played ball from Carnival, but nobody there for it, and Kalukian escapes. And now he runs into his own man. Kalukian hits the deck after a collision with Threadgold.
Don't see that every day.
Conditions of the pitch, certainly not ideal. Kalukian knocked from behind, and he's gone down now, grabbing his forehead. And that's a clear foul.
The physical nature when these two teams just following through the back of the head of Kalukian.
Love to see the desire from Kalukian, though.
Yeah, exactly, and that's instinct as well for, well, you know, considering how many new faces there are on this team. Kalukian, one of the more veteran players on the squad after being a part of an influential part of last year's roster, and that's what you want to see.
Base. Plays forward for Cutler to Jesus. Cornell trying to take advantage of a switch that SU maybe wasn't ready for.
That's a poor pass right there. Syracuse with a great chance to take advantage.
On for Kalukian in the counterattack. Kalukian working, fires a shot straight off the gloves. Back out wide to Threadgold, curls it in. Well played in the box, and a whistle is going to stop.
Pretty pleased with the sequence, though. Kalukian, I love it, taking a strike from distance. Sure, it doesn't look too threatening, but it's going to lead to a rebound like that on a wet night like tonight. And on the second chance, Syracuse just can't quite capitalize, but they're putting more pressure on this Big Red team, putting more shots on target, and testing Friedberg a little bit more.
Coach McIntyre mentioned the game this Friday, Wake Forest. This is really a test for it. Said it's the closest thing to ACC competition that they'll get outside the ACC. The Orange back in action, 7 o'clock this Friday night here on ACC Network Extra. Yet another free kick. And Sam, it's one of those few nights where you can actually hear the pitch when they're walking on it. Or we can hear the spikes on the grass at the moment when guys are straight in front of our perch here above SU Soccer Stadium.
You can just see all the mud there, you know, around the benches and spilling onto the sideline as well. I mean, the grass is pristine here, and it's amazing how they keep it in such great shape. But even on a rainy night like tonight, it's going to affect things quite a bit, and we're seeing that as we get deeper and deeper into this game.
Orange looking a little bit more condensed to begin this second half in terms of the formation, and yeah, not a nice place to be walking through. You can kind of see one of the, it looked like maybe the backup SU keeper, whoever that was. I saw the keeper gloves trying to carefully trek his way through the mud so he doesn't ruin those nice shoes that he's got provided from the team. This may be one of the days where even if you know you're not going to play, you still wear your cleats out anyway. You don't want to ruin those shoes he's got.
No, probably a smart move if you just go with the boots, yeah.
Another ball that can't find a third pass. Back line played forward, nice tackle. Kalukian races after it, but it's Friedberg who's there in plenty of time. Burko off his shoe into Kalukian. Kalukian battling for it, but it's turned away by Miller. Connor Miller's touch really impressed me tonight so far. Just a sophomore, but fantastic poise on the ball, and you can see why he's got the points that he has, 4 of them in his sophomore campaign. Kaw plays it on forward and tracked down. Chips behind himself. Fantastic from DaCosta, and then he turns it over. Can see your displeasure with that, Sam. You're really wanting to see that extra pass when it comes to the link-up play. DaCosta shows so much poise to go behind his own back with a little chip to himself, and then just plays a ball straight into that big red back line.
Well, that's the thing. DaCosta right there, he did the hard part and didn't do the easy part. A beautiful flick to get free of the defense there and really make a smart decision. Instead, tried to really thread the needle.
Kalukian plays it off a man. Counter attack for Cornell. Well turned. Only one man back. That's the SU defender, De Jesus. Shot on goal, and it's turned away. Hutt does a nice job to keep it out of the back of the cage.
One-on-one situations. He's so technical on the ball. He's a right-footed player mainly, can also shoot with his left. Tried to sneak it past the near post. Good alertness by Tomas Hutt. Great job from Sam Layton to get a foot in front of it, but now you have to be locked in defensively on this corner kick.
Aiden Martin will send it in. Turned out nicely. That SU back line proving reliable, and it was Layton, the only man to deviate from the rest of his defensive line.
Yes.
Come out to attack that ball, and I know we've mentioned bad communication. That's some fantastic communication to know who's going to pressure the attacker in that situation and maybe keeps Cornell from scoring. Now, Sam Ways, try to fancy turn, but he's gotten it picked off his foot by Cutler De Jesus.
He's really impressed me, Luke De Jesus. He's been locked in from the start, making the challenges at the perfect time.
Turned into the top of the box, a ball that just kicks around, and now loose in front. No one onto it. A missed chance, and Hutt's the one that comes up with it. John Smith was upset about missed chances in that first half. Cornell may have just missed its biggest of the night.
Wow. Alioune Kaw was the one who got the second opportunity. It takes a weird deflection off of Latona, and what a sliding effort to block that one. That's what I'm talking about, where the entire Syracuse defense has been willing to put its body on the line, and that's a goal-saving challenge right there if I've ever seen one.
The desire from Hutt on full display. Back in with it. Latona fires a shot, turned away. Tomas Hutt. A fantastic save from distance.
Wow. This about 25 yards out, and Latona with a beautiful strike off the right boot. It had pace, it potentially had precision. Who knows if it would have hit the bar, and Hutt alert, sprawling upwards to punch it over the bar and get a hand to it. Both goalies have been called in action a little bit more this half.
All of a sudden, the Big Red out of hibernation. That ball swung in front, and again, it's Latona who heads it off to his right-hand side, and I think he'll need a wash for that kit after this one, Sam.
Maybe more than one wash, Luke. That's several washes right there. You gotta love it. That's when you know you put in a great shift. Tomas Hutt putting on a show with that last save, and look at that 6-yard box, just muddy as ever, and that's where he's been doing his job. The goalie does the dirty work a lot of the time, and that's been ever true tonight.
I know we spoke a little bit earlier about shades of that SU 2022 NCAA tournament run, that was a massive factor late in that playoff run, was the boxes, because SU had played so many games, the weather was starting to turn. Ooh, and now a nasty challenge at midfield. Kalukian down on the pitch. Two players taking a pretty serious knock there. Looks like it's Aiden Martin, the other one down, or Andrew Johnson.
So we take a look at the replay here, Luke, and that's a tough challenge from both players. Really a 50-50 ball, and in the end, even though both players come out, you know, feeling it, it honestly did look like it was Kalukian who went in with the studs on the shin of Andrew Johnson, and there it is. So as I said, it was Kalukian who actually went in with the stud, and that results in him getting the first booking of the match. It's probably a fair call, even though both players were putting themselves in a very vulnerable position.
And maybe Kalukian, aware of that situation, that he went in with his studs up, because he seems to be all right now. No one from the SU training staff out on the pitch, and trying to stay down and maybe draw the card going the other way. So a heads up moment for Kalukian in a spot of trouble.
It's good officiating, though, in the end. We had a great look at it on the replay.
Credit to everyone here on our crew, giving us a great second look at the way that play develops. Liam May, who was subbed off towards the end of that first half, the one to put it back in. More than a quarter of the way through this second half. Omese locked onto his man. Barco playing a bit of defense. He was the co-ACC Offensive Player of the Week last week. But SU, Sam, not really on the front foot in this second half. You're seeing a lot of balls cleared out of the way and just played to that Cornell back line, who's really controlling the pace of this match at the moment.
They have been in control these last 10 or so minutes. Cornell's absolutely the happier of the two sides so far. Right as I say that, it's a bit of a poor pass that turns it over, but the theme continues of Syracuse not maintaining that possession and doing really anything with it.
Well, Virginia and Louisville, a team that Syracuse played just days ago. That game coming to a close. Or UAB, I should say, on top of Louisville late in the game. And
yeah, that's a stunning scoreline there. A not so stunning scoreline is Clemson taking the lead over Liberty.
Finally cracking that goose egg for Clemson and getting on top in that one. It's a corner for Cornell after a ball that dribbled out of bounds. Daniel Samwise. Samwise swings one in smartly, and it's drifted long. Latona. Marked by DaCosta. Latona!
Bit hopeful there from Latona. I mean, he rightly so has plenty of confidence after he tested Tomas Hutt just minutes ago with a dangerous strike from outside the box. But in that situation where you're one-on-one, he had his back to the goal, kind of turning and shooting, trying to catch Hutt off guard. In my opinion, where you have the whole attack forward, it would probably be a better option to link up with someone at the edge of the area and really combine to create a better looking shot.
Think maybe trying to catch lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, that's what it was.
For that strike the second time. Now Kalukian trying to do the same. Plays it on forward for Smith. He's got space in the corner, now doubled, swings one inside. Kalukian can't get there in time. Played back. And a sidewinding strike for Nathan Scott goes way over top the netting behind that Cornell goal and out onto some of the football fields where the SU football team practices. I think that one might have gotten to the 50-yard line.
It might have. Not quite the connection Scott was looking for. And that's one of those where if you do take it take it right off the half volley pure, that could be one going on SportsCenter top 10, but the likelihood of that is pretty slim.
SU a man down at the back line after Layton went in for a dangerous challenge, and now another man hits the deck. It's Cutler de Jesus. He's invigorated.
I'd like to know the number of times Cutler de Jesus in particular has hit the deck, because he has been doing a little bit of everything tonight for that Syracuse back line.
Surprised that that shirt isn't more dirty.
Right.
Martin's corner is low and offline and easily knocked away by Scott. Played back nicely, and he's got Omese going forward. Now he finds him with a nice ball. Omese's got speed. Chance on the counterattack for the Orange. Onto it, Burko. Burko swings one in, finds a man on the back door, can't finish with the left foot. Another chance. Walking the line. And nothing for the Orange. It was Gabe Threadgold who had that final chance on both sides. The team struggling to finish. We play on. Physical spell of play. This is what you paid for. Omese, and that one kicks off of what looked like Cutler de Jesus. Sam, what a stretch.
What a sequence. I mean, that was fantastic. Quick build-up from Syracuse to create this opportunity, and on the original pass to Threadgold, he just kind of got it stuck between his feet, and that allowed Cornell's defender to recover and get into position, or else Threadgold really could have been in with one of the better chances of the night, Luke.
Carnival plays his man wide. That's Martin. Miller swings to May. Near touchline. Finds Burko. Sam, we talked about that false 9 earlier. Now Burko gives up a sloppy challenge. He's just got to make a decision there. On with it. And the flag is up. The play far offside. Ian McIntyre confirming that for us from the sideline.
Oh yeah, he was barking that right from the get-go as Harris tried to connect with Latona, who couldn't quite hold his run. But the reason why Cornell was in a position to possibly pose a threat in the final third was because Burko was just a little bit too slow in the hold-up play. And against a Cornell team that's feisty and challenges you on every single pass and every single spell of possession, you can't hold on to it for that long, and Burko found that out the hard way.
Well, it's been Latona, really, who's probably posed the biggest offensive threat for Cornell, plays more of that attacking midfielder role, and I know that we expected to be saying Alex Harris's name, and who wouldn't expect that, but Latona with 2 of the better strikes of the night, really. Working away for Miller. Miller maybe more touches than anyone for this Cornell side.
Outside! 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 Step, step, step.
Played away. Carnival.
Turn him off!
Kaw.
Right in! Find your man!
And this is fine if you're Syracuse. Just take your shape. Where after several passes and a long spell of possession, they said, all right, we got to somehow force this one into the box. And in the end, it's a really harmless through ball as the Big Red makes some changes.
Loco back on along with Georgios Diakos on for the first time today. He's appeared in 5 of the matches from Lamaka, Cyprus.
Yeah, Diakos really a unique story, a transfer as well from the University of Charleston, and he's come onto the scene and making an impact for this Big Red team.
Loss of footing for one of those SU attackers trying to regain possession in the final third. And now Omese will have to chase after it, but that's a ball just played a little bit too long and sliding into the boundary. That's that work rate on display for Alex Harris in a game that's certainly worn down just about everyone on the pitch. He's still giving it 100%. I don't
in particular, he'll be thinking about that chance he had in the first half, and maybe that's gotten into his head a little bit, where that's one you think he would put away. Hasn't had a whole lot of opportunities since then. Did pose a threat earlier this half on that one-on-one chance with a strike from right at the edge of the box, but it's been a little quiet so far tonight, Luke. But what makes him such a great player is that he can have a moment of magic at any given time. So Syracuse can't, you know, turn the switch off for 1 second, because with Harris's work ethic, you know, he could have a moment of magic in a split second within any time frame of these final 20 minutes.
Well, Harris really one of those players that you expect to create space for himself with the way that he plays and generate his own opportunities on goal. He's been more of that target man tonight.
Yes.
Stand right, stand right.
Needed the passes from players like Danny Loco. Johnson. Melly. On to Harris. See what he can cook up now. Harris cuts inside past Omese, and a good challenge. Chimre Omese, the freshman, cuts back behind himself and gets that ball out of play with a nice slide.
Good job by the freshman Omese to just stay with it, because when you get beat by a pacey guy like Harris, you could easily surrender right then and there, but Omese stayed with it. Now another corner kick for Cornell, Luke.
Stacking them up in this second half. Harris's swing inside goes wide of everyone. Out-swinging pass, and it was knocked wide. Diakos, the one who had the strike.
Nathan Scott putting his body in the way of that strike. How many times have we seen that, where a Syracuse player gets in the way to block an effort from a Cornell player, but it leads to yet another corner? And you see right there, they're really piling up, Luke.
The comparison really not close at the moment. The Big Red front, and Kalukian turns it away easily. Now the Michigan transfer right back onto the ball, and he's played it into some open space, but onto it first, Melly. Miller working away from his man. Good pressure. DaCosta forces it wide.
Outside, 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 Ben. Stand
Martin.
Stand left. Ben, Ben. Hey!
Surgical from Rosenblatt.
Fucking brilliant, you.
Two subs coming on for the Orange. Michael Aqua on for the first time today, and Elton Chafamba back onto the pitch. Aqua just his second non-start appearance of the season.
Substitutions for Syracuse.
And a big reason why that is because Burko got the nod tonight up top, but Aqua very influential, especially as a playmaker with 3 assists on the season. So it doesn't surprise me one bit to see him enter the match.
We want to get him integrated at some point. And right now what you see on your screen is the entirety of both these sides. Incredibly tight, narrow in the midfield. Well challenged. Gabe Threadgold. He's eaten minutes in this grad year, coming over from the University of Washington. How about receiving some word back from our control room? UAB up 2-1 over Louisville. The Orange would be displeased in one sense of the word because they lose that match, but in another sense, happy that maybe the Cardinals take a loss in a game that they were supposed to win now as we get deeper and deeper into ACC play. The Orange still looking for that first win, a loss and 2 draws. There's 3 results. Have a chance to add to that at home here on Friday. Just looking for that finish. Kalukian fouled that time.
And now the last few minutes, Luke, things settling down again just a bit, where Syracuse is really trying to just get the game back under control, because Cornell had that spell where they were threatening. and creating several chances, especially with those plethora of corner kicks. But now the Orange looking to have more of that possession and just really spark something in these final 15 minutes, because I guarantee both of these sides not content to share the spoils. They both want to go for the win, and I think we're going to see it start to open up in these final minutes, because both teams hungry for victory tonight.
Especially in a Central New York derby, if you will.
Yeah.
Battle for supremacy that the Big Red have dominated as of late. The Orange a chance on their home ground to pull away in the late stages. Omese tracking back, just tremendous speed from the freshman, and in with the slide, Sam Layton. Layton's been beat up a bit tonight. Staying physical there.
Shows you how fit, though, the Australian is to play every minute of the season so far. The only Syracuse player to do that. Not even Tomas Hutton goal has played every minute, because he was off for that second half against Canisius due to Syracuse dominating that contest.
A reliable face on the back line for SU. And certainly tremendous pace and shape for him. Cut inside, now a chance on goal. Swung toward the keeper, hot, and it was deflected wide. A lucky spell maybe for the Orange. May, his cross inside. 3 SU bodies, 1 Cornell one, and that one swung wide again. Martin now onto it. Finds Miller. His left foot, pass goes errant. Turned away by Rosenblatt.
And a lot of what it comes down to in a 0-0 game with 14 minutes left in this rain is about the mental fortitude as well. Just staying disciplined and not making a mistake.
Inside now, Loco turned away off the foot. This time, Hutt's desire breaks through again. Tomas Hutt has come in clutch tonight for the Orange. And once again, it's Danny Loco who finds himself in a high danger situation. He's really been fantastic in this one, Sam. Carnival plays one on. Far side for Martin. Tracks it down right at the touchline. Now tries to swing it in, Chimre Omese again, and then lazily has it taken off of it.
Chance down that left side, and this is, again, Cornell's attackers just staying with it and creating the opportunity. Maybe a bit of a low percentage shot from distance there, but even on the chance before that, it was Danny Loco with the opportunity.
A chance now for Kaluki, and stumbles in front of the box and can't keep possession. Ian McIntyre asking more of his players. And Kalukian goes down right on top of it. He wants that ball. Up now, Chefamba. The only card of the night to Kalukian in a game that has seen so many stoppages. Wide for Thread. Working with his right foot. Scott. In swinging ball. Back to the top of the box, and
I'll tell you what, in real time, it looked like that fell kind of nicely to Elton Chifamba, but I don't know if he was really expecting all of a sudden that ball to fall right on his right foot. The intention was right to try to take it one time, but just mistimed the strike to the point where it was well off target in the end.
Friedberg gets us restarted. It's 11 minutes now for everything in this contest. Plays one on. Burko still looking for another goal to add to his tally on a spell that's earned him a start tonight. He's trying to earn his way back into the 11 against Wake Forest on Friday. Rosenblatt looking for an outlet. He's got nothing there.
Good.
Yeah, that was an instance.
No movement.
Exactly, no movement to the point where Rosenblatt said, all right, I'll just throw it forward. Hopefully it goes off a Cornell player so we can redo it over again. In the end, we're seeing that all things worked out, but it's got to be better in terms of off-the-ball movement, providing an outlet from those throw-ins.
That doesn't tell you how these two high-energy squads are feeling after 80 minutes. Now ahead with it, Miller. And just a sloppy ball forward, too much pace. And SU easily regains it, but not before it's turned over again.
Start winning the midfield.
You maybe hear Ian McIntyre start winning that midfield. It's been a battle that SU has struggled with so far. Kaw. That back line coming in clutch again, and Chafamba plays it forward. Chafamba just didn't see it coming, it seemed. Miller lets it travel. May. Miller. And once again, Cutler de Jesus responds to the call. For you, 1 p.m. kickoff. It's a weekend against Wake.
Yeah, that's right. And the women's squad, as you mentioned earlier, put up a great fight against North Carolina over the weekend, and that was off of a busy stretch of travel as well for the Syracuse women's soccer team. So now a stretch where it's a little less congested for them. Plenty more matches at home as well here at the SU Soccer Stadium. And there you see some of those women's soccer players braving the elements and in attendance tonight to support the lads.
Tough result for them against UNC the other day. Oh, ball play. Marco just does his best to chase onto it. Contact, none with the ball, just between Leighton and a challenger. Locos dished it off, trying to go for that far post, and out to play it easily is Tomas Hutt. Hutt maybe looks as comfortable as anyone on the field right now for the Orange. Cutler de Jesus, thread gold. De Jesus, forward and a ball that goes off the foot and lands to Miller. Plays it through the midfield, forced to backtrack again. That one just dies on the turf, and Kalukian's away with it. Plays through one man, and he's had and Friedberg had an answer.
It all started with a great win in the midfield from Cutler de Jesus to set up this opportunity, and just some strong play from Kalukian to create this chance. The way Burko's been playing lately, you can't blame him for taking the shot. He also had Chafamba down that left wing as an option, but decided to take it himself. Friedberg up to the challenge.
Surprised he went through the air with it. Some tired legs, most likely, late in this game. Diakos. And a whistle blows with the ball on the edge of the box. Believe it's going to come back outside.
I believe offside was the call there. So a chance for Syracuse to just catch its breath a little bit here. You know, despite this being a 0-0 game, there have been opportunities, especially in the second half, Luke, where you get the sense that in these final 7 minutes, there's still going to be
ready to come on for the Orange. And now it is Ming. Shaquille Ming from Bermuda appeared in all 8 matches so far this season, started in half of them. Michael Aqua heads back off, so Aqua really only on for a short spell. Still expect Alex Harris somehow to get involved at some point tonight, Sam.
I would have to think so. For his standards, he's obviously been quiet, but he's still on that pitch, as you would expect at this stage of the match for someone of his caliber. And again, it goes back to this needing to be a full 90-minute performance for Syracuse defensively, because Harris is still out there and can always perform, can perform to the best of his abilities in any split second. And we've already seen him with a couple of chances. He put them away 2 times against Syracuse last year as a freshman. So the Orange, especially their returners, are well aware of the threat he poses up top.
Well, Smith said we can't expect to play a 60-minute game and come away with a win in a game that goes 90. I would say his team's given 90 minutes of effort tonight, but hasn't been able to find that elusive on a cold night at SU Soccer Stadium. Whistle blows, ball goes back in the way of SU. I believe they've called that off a hand, and now it was Loco who actually went in and jumped up to grab that ball, trying to prevent SU from getting play restarted. Clock continues to tick. I may be surprised he hadn't been carded for that. The referee was
there. Loco towing the line a bit, but something you're willing to do in a tight battle like this against one of your non-conference foes.
no cards, so Friedberg. And he's going to take his time as well. Started as a night full of rain, has turned into a cold and wet one. Ming's ball played too long for Burko. Burko working in space. Operating, tries to get it to the middle, and nobody there except for a sea of white jerseys on the counter attack. It's into the back of the net. Connor Miller breaks the draw with less than 5 minutes to go, and the Big Red flex its muscles.
A counterattack opportunity for Cornell, and they're simply too quick the other way for Syracuse to recover. It's a beautiful cross towards the penalty spot, taken one time by Connor Miller. As great as Tomas Hutt has been tonight, this is a tough one to stop. It takes a quick hop, it's into the back of the net, and that opportunity all started off of a turnover in the midfield, or really towards the attacking third of Syracuse, where an errant chance at the other end, and look what it means for the Big Red on the road trying to take down the Orange for the 3rd straight year.
Among this Cornell side, and now just 4 minutes and 40 seconds to respond for the Orange if they want to get anything out of tonight's tie.
Forward now, it's all or nothing for the Orange if you want to salvage a point.
And a quick mistake from Omese, and now one of the ball boys run into on the far side. He's knocked down that boundary. He looks like he's all right.
Ball boys got to have their head on a swivel too.
Ben Rosenblatt's 5'10", 172, so he's not one of the biggest guys on the Of course, it's Miller that gets in every single high danger chance for Cornell. Ming. 1-2. Nothing out of it. And now you can see that back line starting to push up, and they've actually moved Ian McIntyre, that is, moved Omese to the middle of the pitch in that back line, just using his speed and his ability to play these balls to create. Nothing there, empty space on the far side, and Cornell clears away again. Omese's work rate in these final few moments. He'll easily track all the way back. Hutt settles down, 3 minutes to go. Well played on for Threadgold. He doesn't anticipate it right, and that's disappointing, Sam. That's what it's been all night. It's really been a struggle to find the link-up play for the Orange. Right there, Threadgold really should easily be played.
Yeah, exactly. And I like the idea there. Gold wasn't expecting it. Just been instances of miscommunication and not being on the same page that has led to a lot of frustration in that build-up through the midfield for the Orange.
That one's almost got up to us.
We almost got a souvenir there.
Shafamba looking for an answer, and now strategies to just let the time slip away for the Big Red. Pace, the message from Ian McIntyre's staff. And there's that physicality again, swung in, nobody there. Ming was in open space, the ball didn't find him. Scott, far side. In front, Kalukian couldn't connect. Well on two. Now another chance for Scott, this time in front, headed wide, and it's away, a corner for the Orange. Big chance coming up, Sam.
Massive, and this could be the last real opportunity for Syracuse.
Played short. Now in. Back post, Omese can't get ahead on it. Again, Threadgold. Long, Ming overruns it and cleared away. The Big Red ease the pressure and stymie the Orange offensive attack again. Hutt from the back line. The pace on display from Aiden Martin. You can see the desire from the freshman in the final minute. It's his first taste of this CNY clash. It's certainly been a good variation for your introduction. Calmly along, ball in the box, it's loose, kicked away, turned on by Scott. And Friedberg is going to let it tick out. Handshake starting. He's trying to put the ball back in play, but it doesn't matter. Cornell owns Central New York for a third straight time in the final 5 minutes. Connor Miller seals the deal, and the Orange still in search of a win against teams ranked around that top 25.